What's up everyone, it's your Thinking Cap Benji here, back with another episode of Best FPL Captain. Last game week we did bounce back with 6 points from Haaland, but ultimately 12 points just isn't enough. We have very high standards. Let's see if we can hit that 16-point threshold in game week 10. Thinking Cap activated. Starting with my Game Week 9 rankings review, and although Watkins had a good game, that didn't translate into FPL points and he did blank. Palmer performed and he was the best option on last week's shortlist. Both of the Man City boys did underperform all of our expectations. Moving swiftly on to the Game Week 10 shortlist, both Haaland and Foden keep their spots as they travel away to Bournemouth. Mo Salah's got a tasty fixture in Brighton at home, and Cole Palmer faces Manchester United at Old Trafford. He's the only Sunday captaincy option. Let's touch on rest and recovery plus expected minutes. All 4 players traveled away in the cup this week. However, not everyone played. In terms of quality rest, Foden has received the lowest recovery time. He actually started against Spurs. He did get the early sub at 58 minutes, so he should be good to start in Game Week 10, but this has lowered his projected X minutes for me. He's only projected to play 75. Haaland was on the bench for that game and receives a full 7 days rest. His X minutes are the second strongest out of all 4 at 87. Palmer also gets 7 rest days. He was an unused sub midweek like Haaland, and he's got the strongest projected game time at 89 minutes. Finally, Mo Salah, who received 6 days rest. He played 20 minutes off the bench against Brighton. I've got him lower than usual at 80 projected minutes, just because Liverpool have Bayer Leverkusen on Tuesday, and I think there's a strong possibility that Slot may sub him early. Up next is the opponent defensive data. Manchester United are actually pretty close with Brighton as the most targetable fixture. They've conceded 11 goals from 15.4 expected in this campaign. Brighton have conceded 12 from 14.67 XGC, and Bournemouth are tracking pretty close to their underlyings, 11 goals conceded from 11.7 XGC. Bournemouth have conceded the most shots on target out of all 4 teams so far, but I will say the majority of those shots came away from home. All 4 teams are at a pretty similar level defensively, I'd say, but I also think that Man United and Brighton are just the clear standout fixtures, as Brighton have some defensive injuries and Man United have been missing a left back all season. The United midfield is also older average age and it covers less distance. There's less legs in that midfield. There will be many gaps for Cole Palmer to exploit, with Manu still out injured. We're analyzing the historical fixture trends now. These insights give us a glimpse into how these premiums have performed against their upcoming opponents in the past. Salah has a decent record against Brighton, but not that amazing. He's returned 3 goals and 2 assists in 7 home starts, but he's only hauled double digits in 14% of those matches. Phil Foden has a pretty impressive record away to Bournemouth. He's actually put up double digits both of the times he's faced them. His teammate Erling Haaland is in a pretty similar boat, just not as impressive. No blanks against Bournemouth away, but he is averaging 7.5 points in this fixture. Finally, Palmer, who only has 1 start at Old Trafford, and he returned 8 points with 1 goal. Overall, all 4 players have similar levels of positive bias towards their upcoming match, but I would give Foden the edge heading into the next categories. We're going to look at the kickoff data analysis now, and we're going to start with the game day stats first. Salah has the best data set, boasting the lowest blank rate and the best haul rate out of all 4. He's also sitting on a return rate of 1 GA per start in Saturday home games, and in the last 5, he's actually only blanked once. Haaland has a decent set of numbers in Saturday away matches, but if you watch the channel every week, you'll know that these numbers are much lower for Erling than usual. His form is only 6.8, and he's blanked in 30% of his starts in Saturday away matches. His return rate is also below 0.93, which doesn't point to any clear bias towards this kickoff. Foden has a pretty stinky set of kickoff data. He's on a 50% blank rate, but in the last 2 Saturday away games, he scored 9, then 11 points, which is more positive for a Foden cap in Game Week 10. Palmer does have the 3rd best return rate, but he's also got the lowest points per start. I will say that he doesn't have a big sample size of starts at this time, but it's hard to be positive when he's blanked in 67% of matches and produced 3 blanks in the last 5. Moving into the game time comparison, and Salah is the only one with a significant number of starts at his kickoff time. He's on a 1 GA per start return rate, and he ranks first in most categories. Salah's boasting the best blank rate, the best double-digit hole rate, and he's only blanked once in the last 5 starts. Palmer has started only 3 times in 4:30 PM away games, but he's yet to show any signs of positive bias towards this kickoff time. It's 1 assist in 3, and he has 0 double-digit holes so far. Foden has the worst set of data though, 0 returns in 4 starts away at 3 PM. Haaland isn't much better either. He's started 3 times, but he's returned 1 goal only. This definitely isn't a preferred kickoff time for him. Overall, Salah's dataset stands out, but it's not indicating explosivity. Salah seems to be a ticker in this kickoff, and with the other 3 playing a lower number of games, this could be a week where we see a Haaland, a Palmer, or a Foden improve their kickoff data significantly. It's time for the risk assessment, and the safest place to put your armband is on Salah. He offers you a 50% risk. I actually expect him to be the most captain player after back-to-back double-digit holes against Chelsea and Arsenal. He's in great form, and he's got the best fixture on paper. He offers you very significant gain, only 40% owned in the game right now, and he offers you 80% game potential if you choose to captain him. I'm expecting captaincy to be split between Salah, Haaland, and Palmer this weekend, which is why Haaland has a bit of higher risk at 55%. Not that much higher than Mo, but way higher than what he was at in the last 2 weeks. I think a lot of people will go against him this weekend, and I completely understand why. The form is not that good. This does mean Haaland will offer you pretty considerable gain at 75%, which is a lot for Haaland, but where his overall ownership is now, there's not as much game potential than you'd think. Palmer is a little bit more risky at 60%, but he offers you way more gain at 90%. His overall ownership is hovering just over 55%, so he's in that sweet spot, a bit of risk, but a ton of gain. Finally, Foden is the most risky captain. Obviously, that's because he played in the midweek. He started against Spurs. There's a chance he does get benched against Bournemouth, which is why his risk factor is so high at 90%. But he does offer you the most game potential at 98%. He's got a good historical record against Bournemouth. And as we spoke about before, he also is a very explosive asset. Before we get into my Game Week 10 captain rankings, you need to know that these rankings could change. Captaincy means we need to access and process the maximum amount of information so that we can make the best, most informed decision. If there is new info which changes the rankings, could be based on leaks, injuries, press conference news, that kind of jazz. If that new info does come out, I'll post the updated rankings on all of my social platforms before the final deadline. So make sure you're following at least one. If you don't hear anything, obviously nothing has changed. Links to all of my socials are in the video description. Now, let's not waste another second. We're starting with the wildcard captain, which is for you guys out there who have a very high risk appetite. You're looking to really chase games. You're looking to engage in more risk, make riskier decisions to see those fat rank gains. And if that sounds like your cup of tea, then I would seriously recommend a Felipe Foden captain in 10. Obviously, we discussed the doubt around his X minutes, but I am predicting a start for Foden because City don't really have anyone else to play. Savinho got injured in the midweek, and they're very, very short on players, City, so I think he is going to start. He's also got a very, very good historical record against Bournemouth away from home, 2 double-digit holes in 2 starts, and he's going to score in the Prem at some point. I said last week I didn't like Foden captain, and he did blank, but this week I'm much more positive about it just because I think he can exploit the spaces in Iraola's team, how they're going to set up defensively, and perhaps better than a Haaland can in that game, who he's not going to be afforded as many chances as people think this weekend. So it is a decent shout, but I still prefer both of the top 2 options in my rankings this weekend. The third spot, now this is going to be a surprise to some of you, goes to Haaland. Look, I don't mind the Haaland captain. It's decent, but I have a lot of respect for the home form that Iraola has built. Did you know that every FPL premium attacker that's faced Bournemouth this season has blanked Isak, Palmer, and Watkins? Just by that factor alone, Haaland's explosive ceiling comes down a lot, right? And I think it should for you too. Even if you think he's going to do something, take the ceiling down, because Bournemouth away is, I don't think it's an easy fixture. At least that's the way I'm sitting there. So then suddenly, if you're expecting just one return, you're going to be turning around looking at the other premium midfielders with much more positivity this weekend. Another reason why I've got Haaland in third is because of his kickoff data. Haaland is the king of kickoff data. I mean, I look at kickoff data every week. Usually he has the best set of stats for his kickoffs, but his record for the 3 PMs away from home, it's not great. His data set for the Saturday away matches is also just a bit average. He's still a good option, but just not for me this week. Now, for my best captain in Game Week 10, it is Cole Palmer. Now, this is going to surprise a couple people. I know it is. Look, I love Mo Salah. He's in the second spot. I love Mo Salah, and actually, let's touch on Mo first. He's a good option this week, my second favorite option, but it's the quick turnaround for the Champions League game is the real problem for me because Salah's playing Saturday and then he's playing on the Tuesday. I'm just afraid that Slot might make the early sub, which is one of the reasons why I've put him second. Another reason is that I think the game will be a little bit tighter than most expect, even with Brighton's defensive injuries. Although Salah's kickoff data is the best out of all four, it's still not indicative of big explosive potential, and with the lower X minutes, with Palmer's stronger X minutes as well, it really just does push Palmer above Mo for me. The fact that Man United are just in a little bit of a free fall zone right now. You know, the new coach is coming, but Amorim, he's not on the training pitch right now, and I know the mentality of those players. I think if the crowd gets on them at Old Trafford, it could be a really, really long day for us. So that's why I really do like the Palmer captain. And look, even if Ruben Nistelrooy chooses to play with Casemiro and Ugarte in the midfield, I can still see Palmer exploiting United in central areas to a very high level of success. And that's why I'm going for him as my best captain. That is a wrap on this video, guys. If you did enjoy this one, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the captaincy videos this season. Right now, we're on 188 points. That is still above and beyond very, very good elite captaincy. It's actually the best total points out of all captaincy content creators. So let me know who you're captaining in the comment section. Am I crazy to be on Palmer? Are you guys with me for this big decision? I'm interested to see if actually anyone else is thinking like me. And by the way, guys, if you're looking to move some of your forwards in or out, I've dropped this banger right here, touching on Solanke, Haaland, Cunha, Strand Lawson, and a couple other forwards too. So if you want to nail your decisions, check out that one. Peace.